Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2023 Forest River Wildwood 27 REX. We're just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you are pre-wired for an observation camera, and you do also have the pre-mount for a lip and stair system, so you can get up and check those seals. If you were to want to get set up with that, you can contact the parts department and they can put together a quote for you. Also at the back of the unit, you do have your freshwater connection. The way that works is you put a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to fill your freshwater tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. And right below that is just your exterior shower. You're going to take your silver 751 key, which you should have included with your unit. Unlock that door, pop that open, and you got your swivel shower head with hot and cold water. You also have your spare tire mounted in the back here, and then just located underneath this cap, you just give that a pull off. You got your sewer hose. Once fully extended, it is about 20 feet long. Just take a note of those 2 ears there. There's going to be the same 2 ears we hook up to your sewer system. We just keep that stowed away in the back bumper so we can keep the smell out of the unit. It just presses back into place. And right to our left, in this corner, as well as all 4 corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way those work is you got a tool in the front compartment. You're going to hook it up to that drive nut, run this foot down to the ground. Once it reaches the ground, you are just going to give it another 1/8 turn just to snug it up, and that's just going to take any bounce or sway you see having the unit right now. Also located on all 4 of these, there are just these little safety clips just to make sure that that jack doesn't fall down while you're driving. You do have a coax plug-in right here. And then right below here, you do have your fresh water drain. You open that guy up, and that's just going to drain all the fresh water out of the tank. Located right above this window here, you do have your overhood range hood vent. You're always going to want to make sure you open that guy up whenever you get to your campsite so you can evacuate those fumes. And whenever you do get to your campsite, you can close it back up just by snapping it back into place. Once it's snapped back into place, like so, it's not going to allow any dust to get inside the unit. Right down below here, you got 2 valves. Crack those guys open, and that's just going to drain any water that you have currently inside the lines out of the lines. In this unit, you do have a gray and a galley, and then a black. The way that works is you're going to hook up your sewer hose. You got your black tanks, which you're going to empty first. This valve here is technically just a blocker valve for when you're opening this tank so it doesn't backflow into those ones. So you keep that closed while you're doing this one. And you're always going to want to empty your black tanks first, as it's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can follow behind that with your gray tanks, which is typically a little cleaner water. Up top here, you got your twist lock connection. Just take a note of that ear there. It lines up with this ear on this side. You're just going to plug that in, give another 1/8 turn to lock it into place, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug end. We do include a 15 amp park adapter in case you're at home and you want to run your fridge, but just keep in mind you're going down to 15 amps of power. Whenever you do have this plugged in, you got a blue light and a red light. When that blue light is lit, it's just telling you do have a successful power source. Up top here, you do got your city water connection and your black tank connection. The one on the right is going to be for your black tank. The way that works is, let's say you're noticing false monitor panel readings or you're noticing an odor. You're just going to thread your garden hose into here, turn it on, and that's just going to flush out your black tank, just making sure that you do have your sewer hose connected and your tank open. Otherwise, you do run the risk of overfilling your tank, possibly bursting it. And then you have the city water connection right to the left of that. The way that works is if you're at a site with service, you throw a garden hose in there, turn it on. There's going to be no need to run your water pump, as it's going to pressurize all your lines. Right up front here, you do have your furnace exhaust. Whenever the furnace is running, that's going to be blowing up hot air. And then you got your cover for your hot water heater right here. It's just a service port. Whenever you first get to your campsite, you're just going to want to hit that pressure relief valve. There should be a shot of water that comes out of there. We currently have this tank drained for the customer for pickup. I'm going to go over a reset procedure once we get inside. The button I'm going to refer to is just right here. Around the front of the unit, I do have this propane tank cover off, so that you can get everything you need done just by opening up these flaps. Just by loosening these knobs and opening this flap, and you can access the tanks. They've got two 30-pound propane tanks with a selector valve. Just like a barbecue, turn them on. You're just loosening up that valve. With that pointed this way, you're going to be drawing off this tank. Then you could, if this tank were to run dry, you could just twist it over to this side and open it up. Right at the front there, you are going to notice you also have your battery disconnect. With that battery disconnect the way it is, it's currently on, so the batteries are connected to the unit. If you were to turn that battery disconnect off, the batteries become disconnected from the unit, and the battery is housed inside this black box here. At the front, you do have your tongue jack with a light up front. One way is up, the other way is down. Inside this front compartment, you're just going to unlock that, open it up. Here's that 15-amp park adapter I told you about. Your 25-foot water hose. And then on the wall, which there is a light right behind here, which is hard to see, you do have your solar controller. Now that is more just of a monitor system than anything. The only thing you're going to have to change is if you hold that battery voltage button, battery type button, you can switch between the different battery types. We do currently have an AGM battery in here, so it's currently set up properly. But if you just switch that over to AGM, it will hold. And then if you select the amp, push the amp/volt button, once this were to be done, you could change between your amp hours and your voltage that you're charging at. Located behind that little false panel there's about 6 screws that hold that panel in. If you loosen those guys out, that panel is going to pop out of place, and that's going to give you access to your hot water heater for those bypass valves. You can also get access to it by opening up your bed up top, which I'll show you once we get inside. And then on the wall there is just going to be that tool for the stabilizer jacks. You got your two 110 plug-ins. Then you got a coax outlet in case you would want to plug a TV in outside. And then you do just have your assist handle. You're just going to push that up and fold it 90 degrees, and it'll allow you to open up that door. To open up these stairs, you do have to have the door fully open so that it doesn't contact. You're just going to slide that boom handle. It'll allow the stairs to fold out. You got these 2 adjuster knobs here, and it'll allow you to adjust those feet to your campsite needs so that the stairs can sit nice and level. Once you take a step on inside, first thing you're going to notice is right on your left, you do have your fire extinguisher. It's going to be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Inside, you do have your monitor panel system right on the wall here. The dimmer switch is going to turn on all the lights inside the living area. And it is a dimmer switch, so if you hold it, the lights will go from dim to dark. And whenever you let off that button is where they're going to stay. And then you got your awning LED light and your slide out accent lights on the inside. And then you do have your one slide out button. Now this is going to do the passenger side slide out, so just making sure that everything is clear before you run that out. I'll show you in a minute, but you do have 2 recliner chairs that you do have to make sure are tucked away properly before you go operating these slide outs. Once this slide out's fully extended, you are just going to hear the whines and the clicks of the motor. On the wall here, you also have your water pump switch. Turning that on draws from your fresh tank, and then you have your water heater switch. Turning that on will turn your water heater on. This DSI fault light's going to come on. The water heater is going to try lighting 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this is going to stay on. At that point, you do just have to turn this off, go hit that reset button, and then come back in here and turn this back on, and it'll try relighting itself. And then you got your battery level, which goes low, fair, good, and charging. And then you have your fresh, your black, your gray, and your galley, which is empty, 1/3, 2/3, and then full. The gray is going to be for your bathroom sink and shower, and the galley is going to be for the kitchen sink. You do have a awning button here. Pushing that awning button out on this panel here does control the main one on the trailer. The front one is going to work the same way, but we don't have enough room to put it out today, unfortunately. But it does work the same way as this one, and I'll show you that. You're going to run that awning out. You're going to know that awning's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tube and the little flap come down. Unfortunately, today we can't get to that point, but you can take any arm, front or rear if it were to ever start raining. and just pull down on it, and it's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now, if you like that better because it allows for more shade underneath, you can do the same thing with the front arm on both awnings. Just always making sure you push these arms back to straight before you bring in that awning so you don't run the risk of bending anything. The controls for that awning are just on this switch panel here, and this is going to be this for your other slide out. Pushing and holding that out is going to make that go out. So there you go, you heard those clicking of those motors. Inside your little dinette area here, it is what's called a Versa Lounge. So right now we do have it currently set up for you have it in a nice couch, and then dinette area for eating. Now you can take this and pull this out, switch this around, and you do have steak pockets on the other side for this to go into. Now, if you just line those guys up and slide those back into place, and now it gives you a nice little sectional, and it has some cushions you can place there so that it sits even with all the rest of it. You can also take this bed or this couch and fold it out into a bed. You're just grabbing the foot of that couch, and it allows it to turn into a bed. To get it back into the couch, you're just again picking it up and folding it back in. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. You're just grabbing them, pulling them down, letting them go, and that's where that's where they'll stay. To unlock them, you're just grabbing them, letting them go, and they'll retract themselves back up. You do have these two recliner couches, which do keep in mind, if you have them out at any point, you do have to make sure you tuck them back away like this before you run the slide outs so that they don't contact the slides. And then right inside here, you got two little screws. You pull those out. Sorry, 4 screws. You pull those out. It's going to give you access to your water pump for winterization. That is where it's located. And always making sure that whenever you are traveling, you have your travel straps attached. That way these chairs don't go anywhere for when you go to open the slides. You got your entertainment center, which is going to be just like home, minus the fact of having zone 1 and zone 2 on this trailer. Zone 2 is going to be your interior speakers, and zone 1 is going to be your exterior speakers. And then down below, you do have a little fireplace. You got your power button on your far right. You can change your flame color with that button next to it. And then in the middle, you got your rock light color. And then on that second last button, you're having your heat, so you can go from low and high. And then you do have a timer on the far left, and it goes anywhere from 30 minutes to 9 hours. And then just again the power button on the right to turn it off. This switch here does just turn a little accent light underneath there as well. Inside the kitchen area, you do have some nice cupboard space. Your microwave, which is just like home. That range hood, which I showed you on the outside. And then you do just have your stove. Flipping that glass cover back, being careful with it because it is glass. You can turn those knobs over to the light and hit the sparker, and they fire right on up. And then to get that oven going, it's kind of the same deal. You're just pulling that down, turning that switch on, does illuminate the knobs as well as the light underneath, or you can just have the knobs lit and no oven light. Take that oven knob, put it over to the pilot, push it and hold it. Allow the line to prime a little bit, hit the sparker, and it fires right on up. It did work right away today, but sometimes it does take a little while to get that pilot going. And then you can just turn it up to your desired temperature, and it fires right on up. Inside the fridge, you do have a Furrion fridge, which does run on 12 volt. You'll notice down below here, you do got a charcoal filter. We do sell replacement ones of those. Contact our parts department about that. It's just to help with some of the aroma that comes off the fridge. And then you do got your control for your fridge right on the right here. All the way over is obviously the coldest setting. Whenever you do want it to run on 12 volt, you do have to have it on the off-grid setting. So when you connect it to your truck, just making sure you double check that it's on that off-grid setting. Otherwise it won't be cooling while you're driving. And then just all the way counterclockwise to turn it off. On the wall, you are pre-wired for Wi-Fi. Again, you can contact our parts department and they can get you a quote for getting set up with that. And then on the wall, you got your thermostat. Hitting that button once is going to illuminate itself. Hitting it again, you get into fan low. Now this is just running the fan with the air conditioner. There's no cooling involved. Hit it one more time, you get into fan high. Again, that's just the air conditioner moving air around on a high fan. Then you get into cool high, which is the air conditioner running full time, and at any point in time, pushing up and down on the arrows will change the temperature. You can only change the set temperature whenever you're on cool or furnace. Same thing, but on cool low. Then you get into cool low auto. So now it becomes an on-demand system based off of what the thermostat's set at. It's going to kick in and out as needed. Same thing, but on a high fan. And then you got heat, which turns on the furnace, which moves all its air through the 4 portals you see around the unit. And then for the air conditioner, you'd have a couple options. You could run it with these louvers open, in which case it's going to dump all its air into the main living space out of this louver, or you can close these, and it's going to move all its air through the floor or the ceiling ducting you see we have around. The furnace and the stove both run off propane. You do have an LP detector down there to start detecting if we start getting to some worrisome levels. If that guy ever starts going off, you are just going to turn off the main supply of propane in the front of the unit and just open up some windows to try and air it out a little bit. And then inside the bathroom, you got your sink with hot and cold water, as well as your toilet. Main GFI plug right on the wall here. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd check. You got test on the bottom, reset in the middle. Right above your head, you do have a vent fan in here. Opening that up, switches on that far corner, turns that on. Whenever it starts to rain, just making sure you remember to close this, unless you're wanting to buy and invest into a max air fan, max air vent cover, which you can run it whenever the unit is traveling or raining. You can contact a parts department for that. And then last but not least, just taking a step into the bedroom area, which right here down on the floor, you're going to notice you do have your circuit breaker and fuse panel. Popping that guy open, all your breakers are on your left. Whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just got to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Whenever you have a fuse pop, there'll be a little red indicator light telling you which one's blown. Inside the bedroom area, light switch on your left. You do have a TV backer on this wall here, and right up top, you see this little green light is on. Whenever this light is on, the antenna on the roof is on. It also improves radio frequency, so I do recommend leaving that on. You got your closet. Fire exit right on your right. Pulling that pin off. Pulling that pulls that screen out, and then you can take your handle and push it out of the unit. Hop on out. Underneath the bed, lifting that up. Like I said, it does give you access to that front compartment where you can get even more access to that hot water heater. Laundry chute on the right, sleep app access on both sides of the bed. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.